Hello friends, I am Mohamad and it's been a while since I posted my last video, but I'm back now and with a very exciting topic, MCPs, Model Context Protocol. In this video, we're going to be building a .NET MCP, which is going to allow us to interact with our .NET application through Claude or through any AI tool that we have. We're going to be building our own MCP server within our .NET application, and we're going to be interacting with it. Let's get started. What I have here is I have a very empty console application. So if I come here and put .NET run, we're not going to be getting anything except basically the hello world, which is completely expected. And this is how empty this application does not have anything. We're going to be adding all of the items that we need to it. We're going to be seeing step by step how we can implement it. The only thing which I'm not going to be implementing in this video is a full connectivity to the database. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be mocking a database. So we're going to have a class which basically mocks a database. We're going to have some hard-coded users in it. But other than that, we're going to be creating everything step by step. So let's jump into it. So what we're going to be doing first is we're going to be adding some packages, and let's make this a bit bigger. And within this, we're going to be installing. So first one, let's clear this up, and we're going to put .NET add package model context protocol. And basically here we are installing the packages that's needed in order for us to have our MCP server up and running. Perfect. Now that has been installed successfully, I'm going to clear it up and I'm going to install another package. I'm going to put .NET add package Microsoft.extensions.hosting. Perfect. So now that has been installed successfully, I'm going to clear it up and I'm going to check my CS proj to make sure that everything is there. So I'm going to put added CS proj. And if we go down here, we can see here that my Microsoft extension.hosting is here, as well as my model context protocol. Both of them are here, and both of them means that I'm able to use them. Perfect. So now that I have added my packages, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the hard-coded or basically my static database class that I'm going to be mimicking. So I'm just going to add here a new directory. I'm going to call it data. And inside here, I'm going to add first a record. So first I'm going to be adding a record, which is going to be customer. And this record is going to be quite simple. So I'm going to put public record customer. It's going to have an int ID, string name, string email, and let's add a country as well. Okay, perfect. So that's going to be the record that I want. Also, let's add another record, which is going to be mimicking the order. So I'm going to put order, and it's not going to be a class. So let's make it public record order. Also going to have an int for an ID, int for customer ID. We're going to have a string for the product, and we're going to have decimal for the price, actually for the total, and date time for the date. Let's make it date. Perfect. So this is going to be my two data model that I'm going to be using. Again, it's very simple. And the last one that I'm going to be adding is my actual hard-coded repository. So I'm just going to call it customer repository, and I'm not going to be filling all of this up, so I'm just going to copy paste it, but I'm going to be going through by step what does it contain. So as we can see here, my customer repository, I have a list of customers. These are my hard-coded customers. I have 4 of them. I have Mohamad, Lawand, I have Alan Turing, Jubran Khalil Jubran, and Linus. All of them has fake emails, country, etc., etc. So all of that are here. Now I have another list which contains the orders, and these are basically the stuff that they have ordered here, annual cloud plan, training workshop, whatever it is. These are just like dummy data here that I'm using, and I have here also the date of the ordered. So 2 very simple lists that contain a lot of the hard-coded information that I want, and I have a very simple CRUD operation, if you'd like, just to extract data out of the list, which is basically first got by ID for a customer, where I'm able to match the ID with the customer information. The second one is going to be the search, where I'm able to provide a query and search for a customer based on that query. And lastly is get the orders for customer, where I provide the customer ID, I'm able to get the orders. So it's a quite very simple repository with the functionality is quite minimal, and we can see here that the purpose of this video is not to create a database class, it's just to basically mimic it. And for this reason, this is going to be our database class, or basically our database repository. Now that we have removed all of the, I would say, boring items out, let's start with the exciting stuff. So within the program.cs, we're going to be starting building our MCP server. So let me remove this, and we're going to start by adding first var builder equal host dot create application builder. So what we're doing here is we are initiating an application builder, so we are able to refer to it. So now that we have this one, for this MCP server, because we are running it locally, we're going to be relying on stdio. So basically this is going to be the standard input output that the MCP server will have. And the reason we're relying on this is because we want to only connect to it locally. We're not going to be hosting our application. So there's going to be two ways that we are able to actually interact with an MCP server, either through HTTP with streamable HTTP, or we're going to be through stdio. And for the sake of this video, to make it simple as our first video where we're actually interacting with an MCP, we're going to be relying on stdio, which is going to be directly through our local machine. In a later video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building it through an HTTP, streamable HTTP, where we'll be able to host the application and then connect to it and build everything around that. But for the sake of this video, we're going to be starting with stdio. So in order for us to use stdio, we need to make sure that all of the logs that we are generating and the traces, everything needs to go through stderr. And the reason that we need to make sure it's going through stderr is because if we utilize stdout, stdout will break our JSON RPC protocol and we're not going to be able to have the server up and running. So the reason I'm mentioning all of that is right now when we're configuring the logs, we need to make sure that we are providing in the right format, and we need to make sure that we are providing the traces. Builder.logging.add console. Let's specify the options. Options.log standard error threshold, and I'm going to say the log level is going to be trace. Perfect. So that's the thing that I wanted to highlight here. Second, I want to refer to my hard-coded customer repository. So I'm going to put builder.services.add singleton, and here we're going to refer to the customer repository. Perfect. And this basically allows to inject my customer repository into my DI container so I can refer to it. And now I'm going to register my MCP server, and this is going to be the exciting part, at least for now. So we're going to put builder.services.add MCP server, and then I'm going to specify it's going to be through stdio with stdio server transport, and this basically with an ingot we're going to be using locally, and with tools from assembly. And we're going to be building our own tools for this MCP server, and basically this refers to it that we're going to be referring to these tools that's going to find through the assembly or through the DLLs that we're going to be having. And finally, I'm going to put wait builder.build.run async. As simple as that. So just to make sure everything is up and running, I'm just going to put .NET build, and we can see it's building. As you can see here, it's using .NET 11, but this should work fine with .NET 10, .NET 9, .NET 8, whatever it is. I'm just experimenting a bit with .NET 11 at the moment. Once we have done that, the next step is I want to create my actual MCP tooling. So I'm going to create a new directory, and I'm going to call it tools. And this is where it's going to be the tooling that the MCP server will utilize. And inside here, I'm going to create my class, and I'm going to call it customer tool. And let's close this so we have a bit more real estate. And within this customer tools is basically, I'm going to specify the functionality that the MCP server will have. And this functionality will actually refer back to the database functions that I have, which is going to be get customer information, customer order, whatever it is. And I'm going to be linking this into a very logical definition, so anyone who's trying to use my MCP server will be able to understand what are the tooling and what are the functionality that my MCP server will provide. And it's quite simple to actually do that. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to add here a attribute. So this is going to be MCP server tool type. Then what I want to do is I'm going to specify here a parameter for my class, and this is going to be my repository, our customer repository that I had before. And the reason I'm doing this, it will, once the MCP is initiated and the tooling is available, this will be automatically injected through the I containers because I have already specified a singleton inside my program.cs. So that's very cool from here. And now I want to start specifying the tooling. And we'll start first by specifying the attribute that I want to add for every single tool. So first of all, I need to define that this is an MCP server tool. Then what I do is I add the description, and the description here is basically explaining exactly what is this tool gonna provide me. So for example, get single customer by their unique ID. You can say returns null if not found. And once I specified the tool and the description, and the reason I went to length to specify this exact description is because when for example, Claude wants to connect to it, they need to understand exactly the tooling and what's going to provide. They want to understand that what is the functionality that's going to be giving, as well as the potential return type. So now that I have defined this, next, and I just need to define the function that's going to be the tool itself. I'm going to put public customer, because we said it could be null, so we need to add the nullable. I'm going to say get customer by ID, and then I'm going to define another description here. And the description here is going to be the unique identifier for customer by their own ID. And the reason I'm defining this description, again, for the MCP to understand what is going to be the parameter required by the user in order for it to initiate this. And I'm going to put int ID. And then lastly, I'm just going to refer to the repository.get by ID and pass the ID. And why is this not happy? Let's see, maybe I missed something. Let's make this a bit smaller. Oh yeah, that's why. So just the autocomplete just messed up the brackets here. So basically now let's make it a big backup. So here the description, and this is the repository. And this is gonna be my first tool. Perfect. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add another tool. Actually, I'm gonna add 3 tools in totals. So again, it's gonna be MCP Server tool description. I'm gonna describe what is this tool gonna be. It's gonna be, for example, searches customers by their name or email and return null if not found, and or a list of customers, something like that. Then what I want to specify is the public, and it's gonna return a enumerable list of customers, this customer by name, and then again I need to specify the query or the parameter that they're gonna be searching through. So I want to specify the description for it. So we're gonna say description name of the customer by their unique ID, actually name of the customer or their email, and here is gonna be the query. I'm gonna change this name here to search customer by query. Search customers, actually, let's keep it like that. Okay, so once I have done that, all I need to do right now is just refer to the query itself. So once I've done that, I'm just gonna put repository.search query. As simple as that. So now I have 2 tools, and now let's add the third one and the last one. Let's add a description, and this is gonna be mainly about the customer's order list. So I'm gonna put returns the order history for a customer by their unique ID, and it's gonna returns a list of orders. Perfect. So now that I have done that, I'm gonna specify public enumerable orders, search orders, and here we need to specify the description. I say the customer ID whom the orders belong to, and then here I need to specify the int customer ID, and now I need to specify the repository dot get orders for customers, and I need to specify the customer ID. Perfect. So now this I have here all of my MCP tooling in place. I'm gonna first do a .NET build, make sure everything, oops, I did not spell it correctly. Let's clear this up, and let's do .NET build. Everything is building successfully. Let's clear this up. So before we actually connect it to Claude, there's a tool that we can actually use in order for us to test our MCP and see it working. And this is an npm package that we can install. I have already installed it, but you can install it on your machine. I'll show you how. So it's going to be npm install at model context protocol /spectre. And you can see it's already installed. So now that I have it installed, I can run it. So I can put npx at model context protocol /inspector .NET run -- project customer MCP server. So now we can see here it's running, and we can see once I run it, it basically opened this NPC inspector. We can see that the transport type is stdio. This is what I want. We can see here the environment variable if I want, and we can see here the different server entry authentication. Right now there is no authentication. I can click on connect, and now it's gonna do, it will connect to the MCP server. And now we can see here once it's connected to the MCP server, I can click list of tooling, and we can see the 3 tooling that I have. Got customer by ID, got single customer. Basically this is the information that I just provided. So if I put 1 here, for example, I have customer ID, run tool, we can see it was able to get the information out. You can put 2, run tool, we can see basically it got Alan Turing, and basically all of this is basically the information that currently exists inside my hard-coded repository. So we can see 2 is Alan Turing. If I put, let's fix this. Here it needs to be Gibran Khalil Gibran A3, and Linus is 4. It's running, so we need to stop it and run it again. So let's stop this. Let's run it again. So every time you change anything, you need to stop it, rerun it again, and every time you get a new unique auth token, and this is really important to keep in mind for. So now we click on connect, it connects, list of tooling, customer. Now if I put a 3, for example, run tool, we get Gibran Khalil Gibran. If I put 4, we get Linus. If I put 2 again, we should get Alan. If I could put 5, it doesn't exist, it doesn't get anything. And we can see here that this is actually working. Search customers, I can put here for search, I can put 2, run tooling, there is nothing. Let's try an email. So I got customer by ID. I'm gonna put Gibran, which is gonna be, actually let's put me, ID equal 1. My email is Mohamad at example.com. So we're gonna take this one, search customer, put this one here, run tooling, we can see it was able to find it. Search by order, customer ID 1, again, we can see it's getting all of the orders available. Perfect. So this tool is very useful, specifically if you want to test your MCP server locally. You want to experiment with it before connecting into Claude. Of course, with the Claude, you're gonna get more, but this is just something that you can actually use in order for you to debug before you connect it to an actual LLM in order for you to use it. So once we have done this, I'm gonna stop it here, and now we're gonna go to the exciting part where we're gonna actually connect it to Claude. So in order for us to connect it to Claude, Claude needs to have a published version of our application. To do that, we're going to put .NET. Actually, let's clear this up. We're going to put .NET publish -c release -o publish. And basically now if we go to the publish folder here, we can see it published our application in a release format where basically we have all of that as required in order for our application to run. And that's exactly what we wanted. Perfect. So now that we have done this, now what we need to do is we need to tell Claude exactly where to find our application in order for it to be able to discover it. So to do this, you need to have Claude Desktop installed on your machine. That's going to be the main requirement. So once you have Claude available, you need to go to settings, and inside settings, you need to go to developer. And then here you're going to see all of the local MCP servers that we have. This is the one I created previously. If you want to add a new one, you click on edit config, and then within the edit config, it's going to open for you the Claude Desktop config.json, and basically you can edit this inside your VS Code. And within this, you can see here, this is where your MCP server configuration section will live. This is my old one. I'm just going to change it to 1. I'm just going to copy this exact same one, and we're going to explain to it, and then I'm going to show you how you can update it. So here I'm going to call it customer MCP server. The command for it's going to be .NET because it's a .NET application. And then I need to specify my local variable. So this is going to be v3, and this is going to be my local directory. And if you want to know exactly how to get this to it, you can go back to Rider, and if I type pwd, it will give me the full directory. So we can see this is my full directory. I copied it, and then once I have my full directory in place, what I need to do is I need to specify the publish folder, and I need to specify my customer MCP server DLL, and this is going to be the main entry point that my application will use. If we think about it, this is similar to the .NET command that we have inside any Docker file to launch our application. Similarly here, we're hard coding the path that Claude will use in order for it to connect to our MCP server. As simple as that. So first of all, we define the name, which is customer server, specifying the command, and inside the argument section, we specify the full path for where our application will live inside the publish folder and the main name of our DLL. Very simple and straight to the point. Once we have done that, then we can now restart the Claude. So we have to close the Claude now, and then we have to open it again. Now we can ask it very simple, like what tools do you have for customer server? And now we can see it actually connected to a customer server that has the old one and my new one. If I remove the old one, it will remove it, but we can see basically these are the new one that I created. Customer servers by ID, search customers, search orders. We can see here it's all available for me. I can even invoke them. I can tell it, for example, find customers whose email contain, say, Mohamad at example.com, and show me their order history. So now basically Claude is going to check the tooling. It's going to search for customers. It's going to ask to allow to connect. I'm going to say allow. It's going to invoke it. And it's going to again ask to allow to connect to a different tool. And we can see the customer found Mohamad Lawand. It's found my ID and my country, and then it automatically went in and got my data from my hard-coded database and showed me all of the information. So if I go back to my source code, and we can see the orders assigned to me, which is here annual cloud plan, which is going to be annual cloud plan on 15th of Jan, and training workshop on 2nd of March. You can see also training workshop, and the date is going to be 2nd of March. Perfect. Let's try again another command, and they even give me here a total order number, which is really cool. You can say what is the total revenue for customer 1, and we can see it gave me the total annual. So it was able to directly figure out how to use my MCP server based on the description and the tooling that I have provided. It was able to identify all of the different capabilities that my MCP server provided. As well, it gave me a lot of the different utilization that Claude will provide. So it did all of the management, formatting, requesting, analyzing, bundling of all of my data directly through my MCP tooling. I did not have to build all of that. Claude basically took the initiative, used the MCP server that I have through the tools that it's provided, and gave me all this information. And we can see how powerful this is. Basically, it will elevate a lot of the pain for integration, where basically you can use an MCP server, define the tooling that you want, and rely on an LLM through that MCP to get you the information that you want. I hope you have enjoyed this video. This video was the introduction to MCP. I'm planning to do a lot of videos on MCP. The next videos were going to be around how we can create a streamable HTTP for our MCP server, where we connect to it through MCP. It's not going to be only locally. It's going to be a very exciting topic. If you'd like to support me, please consider supporting me on Patreon, becoming a member of the channel, or buying me a coffee. If you have any ideas for videos that you'd like me to do, please also mention in the comments down below. And finally, the world is a terrible place right now. If you'd like to support Palestine, Sudan, I'll put some links in the description down below, so you'll be able to go and support. As always, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.